fourth-generation farmer, rancher, feedlot operator from Montana. At one time, I had 7,000 head of cattle, 12,000 acres of crop, and 30 employees. I spent 45 years of my life in production agriculture. Not something I learned from a book. I learned it by doing it. I was a factory farmer, the worst of all. Not a family farmer, but a factory farmer. Never met a chemical I didn't like. We'd actually grind up animals and feed them back to our animals. Had all of the bad habits.
What are you doing here?
Branding. It's in there. I've branded hundreds of thousands of animals.
It's still allowed? It's still allowed in America?
Absolutely. 1979, I ended up paralyzed from the waist down. Doctor told me I had a tumor on my spinal cord. He said if that tumor is on the inside of the cord, you have less than 1 chance in a million you will ever walk again. Made me stop and think for the first time in my life that I was part of the problem, not part of the solution. I saw the birds die, I saw the trees die, I saw the soil changed. And it was not until I was paralyzed that I was willing to admit that I was the problem. I ended up with a 1 in a million operation. I walked out of the hospital with a 1 in a million operation, but I walked out a much different individual than I walked in. I knew that what we were doing was wrong, was absolutely, totally non-sustainable. Here's a scone that my wife made. Try that. Vegan. Everything in the house is vegan.
Yeah.
There's no animal products in anything that we have here.
Oh, and it tastes good.
Everybody thought the same way. It was mass hysteria. Everybody was doing it. It must be okay. You started from the time you were a child. And can you imagine what it was like when I first asked myself the question, should we be eating animals? It was one of the most thought-provoking questions I ever had in my life, because I had never even considered that. No. And when you stop and think about it, it is so straightforward and open. Should we eat animals? Absolutely not. Do we need them for protein? Absolutely not. Are they good for us? Absolutely not. Do they enjoy us eating them? Absolutely not. My hometown newspaper put my picture in the front page, and it said, Montana's most famous vegetarian. I picked up the phone and I called him up and I said, why don't you tell it the way it is? Montana's only vegetarian. They said, no, we have one of you kind of guys here at the paper, so we know there are two. But people don't want to believe that somebody that from the inside of the industry, when you look at it, the one thing when I debate the issue with somebody from the industry, their common defense is, oh, well, you don't understand. I spent 45 years of my life there. There's nothing that they have done that I haven't done more of it. I've milked more cows. I've slaughtered more pigs. I've fed more animals. And when they tell me I don't understand, I understand. And what I understand is what we're doing is wrong. It's non-sustainable. It's not good for us. It's not good for the animals. It's not good for the planet. The sooner we stop what we are doing, the better we'll all be.
Did you also notice that there are more women vegan or vegetarian than men?
Oh yeah, Why?
Tell me why.
They're smarter. Do you know why women live longer than men?
Tell me.
Because men have to live with women. You know, what I did is I went out on the road and I started talking to people. I traveled about 100,000 miles a year. It was not unusual for me to do 3 or 4 lectures a day. Some of the groups were large, some of them were small. The largest group I ever talked to was 40,000. The smallest was 2. We should never count the crowd. You never know how many people that are there are going to get the information. My job was not to save the world. My job was to do everything that I could do so people would make better choices. And I've done that now for over 20 years. And I think that when I had the opportunity, I was able to change the way a lot of people thought. Was it going to be enough? I don't know. But I did what I could.
Do you think there are more vegetarians now?
Oh, sure. My hometown actually had a vegan restaurant. Isn't that amazing? The man that gets the Nobel Prize for the film on global warming neglects the number one cause of global greenhouse gases? Does that give you some idea of the power of the industry? That a man that was out there to change the world on global greenhouse gases, do you think he did not know about it? Or was he just unwilling to stand up to the power that they had? When I went on the Oprah show and I told a few million people that we were grinding up cows and feeding cows, they sued Oprah, Harpo Production, and myself for 6 years in court. Cost us hundreds of thousands of dollars to protect ourselves for telling the truth.
My reaction is that free speech not only lives, it rocks.